Hi, this is Judy from Client Hub, here for another tip and trick about Client Hub and one of our great new features. Today, we're going to talk about Client Hub and how we resolve for uncategorized expenses in QuickBooks Online using Client Hub. This, again, is one of my favorite features, but you hear me talk about that all the time. So as accounting professionals, those of us that are using QuickBooks Online, oftentimes we would, if we had expenses coming through the bank feeds or even receipts and we don't know what those are for, we will allocate them to an as client account or uncategorized expense, create a spreadsheet, or put that information in an email and send it off to the client asking them to tell us what these transactions are for. Oftentimes, we wouldn't get answers back to all of those transactions, or my favorite was when a client would say everything was supplies, but on the chart of accounts, we had multiple different supplies accounts. So in Client Hub, we have come up with a way to easily resolve for getting these answers from clients. We call this our QuickBooks Uncategorized Expense feature for for Client Hub. So let's go ahead and take a look at how that works and talk about it. So first of all, it starts in Client Hub. We're going to do a setup in Client Hub, and I'll go over that in just a moment. Once we get that set up, or during the setup process, we're going to choose what we call a monitored account. So anytime you record an expense or a check transaction to this monitored account, it's going to automatically create a client task for your client in Client Hub to ask them to reclassify this transaction. So here's where it starts. On screen, we're here in QuickBooks. We can either just create one of these expense or check transactions, or we can do it from the bank feeds. This one I actually did from the bank feeds. It's an American Express. You can see I've got Cindy's Pet Palace as the payee. I chose uncategorized expense as the account that I'm monitoring. By the way, I recommend you create a specific expense account on your chart of accounts for these transactions. It makes it easier for reconciliation. But anyhow, so I've got an uncategorized expense. I've got some description that came in from that bank feed, and then I've got an amount. So let's see what happened when we went ahead and saved this transaction. Let's go back over to Client Hub and see what happened. So QuickBooks sends this transaction as a client task here in Client Hub. By the way, it doesn't really happen that fast in real life. Sometimes depending on the ping rate within Intuit or the speed of your internet, it could take a minute or so for these transactions to show up, but they will show up. Okay, so we've got a client task. You can see the client sees all of the details that came in from that transaction in QuickBooks Online, the payee, the payment account, the date, the amount, and the line item description there. Remember, if that came in from the bank feed. So the client can now go to the pull down, or they can start typing in the expense account type. This one was pet supplies. If they have additional information to add about this, they can go ahead and click on the comments button, and then the client will click the submit button on their end. Now, once they answered that, it will sit in answered status until the accounting professional reviews the answers and then says, yes, they're satisfied with that. Now, if the client maybe didn't select the correct account, you want to say, no, you're not happy with that answer. And then you can either ask the client to reclassify that, or you can go back in and reclassify it here in Client Hub on your own and then send it over. So anyway, once I go ahead and I say, yes, I'm satisfied with this answer, I click the yes. What happens is Client Hub is going to reclassify that transaction right in QuickBooks. So let's take a look at the QuickBooks file now. Okay, so this was the original transaction. Remember, it's the 175 on 525 for Cindy's Pet Palace. Let's go ahead. I'm going to close out of this. I'm going to go back to my expense transaction list. And I come right back up here, and I've got Cindy's Pet Palace, 175, and now it's categorized as pet supplies. So it goes over just instantly. We reclassify that transaction. Okay, I promised to show you how to set this up. It's really, really easy. From the menu down here, let me just go ahead and move that out of the way. We're going to click on Manage Practice. And you can do this for each individual client account. Some of them can be connected to QuickBooks Online, maybe some of them aren't. One thing to share with you, you do have to have a subscription to our Pro plan. If you're in your 14-day free trial, you automatically have that subscription to the Pro plan. If you're in Standard, you'll just want to upgrade. So let's go ahead down here. We're going to scroll down to the very bottom, and we're going to click Connect to Accounting Software. We've got Polly's Pet Spa here connected. We'll click Add Another QuickBooks Company. We select the QuickBooks company that we want to connect. We're going to connect Cheryl Sheshed, and then we're going to go ahead and connect the green button here to connect to QuickBooks. Of course, I don't have a QuickBooks account here for Cheryl Sheshed, but we're going to go ahead. You would log into your QuickBooks Online or your QuickBooks Online accountant. If you're using QuickBooks Online, you'll then select your firm name and then the client account under there and then reconnect. Now, once you set up the connection, you're going to come back to this page and you're going to go ahead and choose a mapped account. It's the QuickBooks Uncategorized account. Again, I suggest that you go ahead and create a dedicated account. We've got more information on this. If you go to our Get Help section, you can find a full library of integration a full library of integration articles about the QuickBooks Online. I strongly encourage that you take a look at those. So thank you for your interest in Client Hub. Thank you for watching our video. If you do have any questions, you can learn more at our website at clienthub.app or email us at info@clienthub.app.